What's going on, good people? Rich here.
What's happening? It's your boy Scoo.
Hold on, man. You switched up the intro, man.
Yeah,
What's going on?
hey, switch it up, man.
Yeah, man. Everybody used to the what's happening there.
What's
And
happening?
it's been a few weeks, man. You gotta get the people what they want.
What's happening? It's your boy Scoo.
Hey, man. Shout out to Ray P, man, the one and only,
Ray
holding it
Pizzle.
down for her. Yeah, holding it down for her, man. She's not joining us this week, as you can see, but School and myself, we're gonna hold it down for another episode of the Culture Garden podcast.
Yes.
Definitely appreciate y'all tuning in. Thank you for rocking with us for another week, man. We can't tell you how much this means to us. We're still in our 50s, episode 56. I don't know what this is, 56, 57, somewhere around there.
57.
Yeah, but we rolling. That's the whole
Yeah.
point. And if you're listening to this on your speakers, if you're watching us on YouTube, you are the reason. Not the big reason, you are the reason why
That's
we're
right.
still doing this. We just, our job is easy, man, as far as, well, it's not easy per se. But talking about something we love is always fun. But actually having people that want to listen, that's even better. Yeah. So if it wasn't for y'all, we wouldn't do this.
I love one of the things that you always say, big bro, is these combos gonna happen regardless.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, man. They're gonna happen. That's what we are. We just movie heads, so they're gonna happen regardless. But we're happy that you guys are a part of them and you join in our conversation. So if you check the episode description wherever you're listening, you will see our Linktree there. Our Linktree has access to our, obviously, Culture Garden page, our YouTube page, as well as We Got Y'all, which is the television feed for Culture Garden. We are currently discussing Run the World, which streams on Stars. Rachel is running things over there, holding it down. It's a hell of a series. There are 2 episodes left in that series, or excuse me, that's this season, which means there are 2 episodes left for us. So please check us out if you need something to watch. It's a very easy watch, 30-minute episodes. As far as Stars, our episodes go a little bit longer because, we like to break things down, and have those real conversations. But doing a hell of a job over there on We Got Y'all. Before we get rolling into this episode, I do want to let you know there will be spoilers and explicit content. So if you haven't seen this movie, and I don't say this often, I should at the beginning, because somebody actually came up to me this past week and she said, huh?
Said what?
She said, you and your podcast had me rewatching that Jamie Foxx movie. I said, which one? I was like, Law Abiding Citizen. She said, yeah, but I hadn't seen it in so long, and I was listening. I was trying to keep up, and I was like, man, let me watch this.
Yeah.
And my point is, that's kind of the way you should do it, unless you're super familiar with the movie. I would always recommend watching it and then coming back to listen so you can keep up with the conversation. Early on when we started this pod, somebody told me like, hey, love the podcast, but you guys know a whole lot more about movies than most people. So sometimes it's a little overwhelming.
Yes.
So I'm like, yeah, we should probably put that disclaimer. You probably want to watch before you listen. And I'm not trying to toot our own horn or pat ourselves on the back, but we love this. Talk about it in details.
I agree 1,000%. I'm even to the point where even if you claim or think that you know the movie we're doing, that we motivate you to watch it again. You're like, you know what? That is a good ass scene. I'm about to go watch that shit.
Yeah, definitely. Even if you YouTube some of the stuff we're talking about, it's always good to just have it fresh in your mind. Maybe the conversation will impact you a little bit more. And like I said, explicit content. If you got the babies in the car with you, make sure they headphones on, give them the tablet, whatever you need to do. So we don't give them too much of a potty mouth, because if they cuss, that's on y'all, not on us. They learned that from home. But today's film, you probably saw it in the title already, but we were discussing Hustle and Flow,
man,
the 2005 film. If you are familiar with us in this podcast, you know that we rotate between myself, School, and Rachel as far as what movies we're going to do. This was my week to pick. I chose Hustle and Flow mainly because there was a movie that I really wanted to do. I was going through my DVD collection. I'm like, man, this is a perfect movie to talk about. I haven't watched it in a while. And when I started looking for that movie on streaming, it's not available. And we try to be aware of that here at the Culture Garden. We don't want y'all to necessarily have to rent a movie, or, if you don't have it in your collection, whatever the case may be. So the movie I'm speaking of, we'll get to it once it gets back in its streaming rotation. But for now, I was strolling through Max. This was on my mind a couple weeks ago anyway. There's a good origin story as far as how I came to know it or came to watch it. So we'll talk about that when we talk about first experience. But Taraji, I try to look at week by week it changes on how I pick my films. But this one I wanted to really talk about a woman actor, or at least have something where I could talk about, a strong woman lead. And Taraji came to my head, and this was streaming, and there we have it. Simple as that. Synopsis. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that's the perfect movie if you want to talk about her, because I feel like this is, you don't think so? I think this is her coming out party.
I'm joking with you partially. The perfect movie is one that I tell everybody it's the last movie I'm ever gonna do. After we do Baby Boy, I'm retired. I love y'all don't have no idea how much I love Baby Boy. How funny that movie.
They don't know.
Yeah, they have no idea. So that's the movie I would pick. But obviously, yeah, this one, Taraji did her thing. But everybody did.
They did.
Everybody did. So we'll talk about it as we get into it. Yeah. The synopsis: with help from his friends, a Memphis pimp in a midlife crisis attempts to become a successful hip hop MC. Hustle and Flow is the title. Some people may know it as the Empire prequel with Cookie and Lucius. I think that was their names on Empire. I don't know. Listen, I watched one season of Empire. I remember starting the first episode of season 2, and I saw Chris Rock as a thug in jail, and I said, I'm turning this shit off. And to this day, I've not seen one lick of Empire.
Oh man,
no idea what happened after that first episode. I didn't even finish that episode. That shit was just too ridiculous.
I'm willing to vouch. The first 2 seasons are phenomenal TV. And it's even better if you watch this first. If you watch this movie first and then go into Empire, hell of a treat.
Hey, if y'all listen to the Daddy's Little Girls episode that myself and Rachel did, y'all know I like to play around with these universes. So yeah, there's a backstory with them and how they went to jail and all that. Cookie was tricking for Lucius, everything. But yeah, funny little shit.
Yeah.
As far as stats go, this was released July 22nd, 2005, so it's almost celebrating 18 years. It was directed and written by Craig Brewer. He also directed Black Snake Moan with Samuel L. Jackson, Dolomite Is My Name, and Coming to America, the sequel, not the OG, the sequel. So
you know who directed the original?
You said what?
You know who directed the original?
Not off the top of my head. Who got it?
John Landis.
Okay, then.
Yeah,
I did not know that off the top of my head.
Mm-hmm.
Did not know that.
And if people don't know, he famously directed the Thriller video. So
yeah, man, school with the trivia.
Yeah.
School with the trivia.
Yeah.
This movie was produced and financed by John Singleton. We'll talk a little bit more about that when we get into the origin of the film. Had a budget of an estimated $2.8 million, and it made $23.5 million worldwide. $8 million opening weekend, so it recouped and then some. I love the fact that this film made money. I love that it was successful. I love it got Oscar nominations. I love that it got an Oscar win, mainly because Hollywood was really trying to shit on this movie.
Yep.
And I guess I can understand to some degree, but like I said, we'll get into it in the origin.
Yeah.
It was kind of like a big fuck you to Hollywood.
Yep.
Y'all don't know the culture. Y'all don't know what people are going to come out and see. And it's a good movie. And the film is currently streaming on Max. So if you have Max, you can check it out there. As far as awards go, 47 nominations and 25 wins. We won't get into all of them, but I do want to shout out some of the highlights. Of course, famously, if you were living and could comprehend anything, then you remember the Oscar that it won in 2006. It won for Best Achievement in Music, written for motion pictures. Original song, It's Hard Out Here for a Pimp. Written by 3 6 Mafia.
Yes.
Hip hop legends, Memphis legends.
Yes.
Oscar legends because of their speech and their reaction to winning. Queen Latifah presented it. I remember her calling the name. Like I said, if you were around, then you remember that. If not, YouTube it. Jon Stewart school, then he had a joke at that point.
Yeah. Yes, about Scorsese. 3 6 had more Oscars than Scorsese. That's crazy.
Yeah, which is funny when you think about it. Martin Scorsese, all the classics that he's made. But he did win his best director or best film that same night. So I guess it made up for it.
The Departed. Classic.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Maybe he knew something that we didn't. But yeah. Terrence Howard was nominated for Best Performance by an Actor at the Oscars. Still to this day, his only Oscar nomination. He was also nominated for the Golden Globe. Philip Seymour Hoffman won both for Capote. And if you're familiar with Philip Seymour Hoffman,
legend.
I mean, he's a dog. He's a dog. R.I.P. to him, but he's one of my favorite actors. I mean, he could kill anything. Like,
Yeah, it was no slouches in the category that year, by the way. Like everyone brought their A game. So the fact that he was nominated and for the role that it was, like, Terrence did his thing. Terrence did his thing.
Absolutely, man. Terrence really did his thing. And like you said, that was a great point. Normally you can look back at these and be like, hold on, man, he got robbed. I know we did that a lot with Angela this past year, but nah, it was a tough category. Category to win. It reminds me of like the 94 Oscars.
Yes.
The 1990 Oscars, just classic years when it's just like, man, it's too much competition. 2001 best male actor. You got Ali and Denzel and everybody. Just those classic years where you just know anybody kind of could have won.
Yeah, for sure.
He was the second actor nominated for playing a pimp on screen. Do you know who the first one was?
Morgan Freeman, man, the legend.
Morgan Freeman, 1987. Street Smart. Street Smart is the name of that film. And it's funny. Every blue moon, I'll see a clip of that movie floating around, and people are always confused because it's Morgan Freeman like you've never seen him.
Yeah, you ain't never seen him like that.
You ain't never seen him like that. And I'm sure that's probably a movie we'll talk about. He was nominated for Best Supporting Actor. He came out in 1987. That was a great year. Shout out to myself and Ray P. That's when we touched down. And the Black Reel Awards, it won Best Supporting Actress for Taraji, Best Actor, Terrence Howard, and Best Original Soundtrack. Also wanted to make sure I gave it a shout out for this Critics' Choice Award for Best Song, which was Hustle and Flow. And as far as the cast goes, we have Terrence Howard as DJ, Anthony Anderson as Key, Taraji P. Henson as Suge, Ludacris as Skinny Black, Taryn Manning as Nola, DJ Qualls as Shelby, Paula J. Parker as Lexus, Elise Neal as Yvette, and appearances by cultural legends Isaac Hayes as Arnell, Juicy J as Tigger, DJ Paul as RL. The last two, of course, being members of 3-6 Mafia, who won the Oscar. Let's talk about the origin school. So I found out some pretty cool stuff about how this film was made and the backstory behind it. So Craig Brewer, as we mentioned, is he wrote and directed this film. He's from Memphis, born and raised. White guy. Right? So a lot of people, which let me ask you, I meant to ask this to Rachel last week. I know you weren't on Get On Up last week, or was that 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
But does it bother you, and I don't know if this is a weird question or not, does it bother you that Get On Up had a white director?
No, it doesn't.
Okay, then. I know it's just one of those things where people look at it like, man, like, why y'all telling our stories?
Yeah, as long as he stays true to the story and has some people around him that's willing to work with him and get them together, then yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I got you. I ain't mad at it. Because that was some of the pushback on getting this film made. Studio executives were telling him, like, you're a white guy, you can't make this movie, which I think is kind of funny.
Yeah.
But Craig Brewer, man, he lived in Memphis. He added several touches from his personal life into this story. His wife worked at a strip club. I don't know if she was a stripper per se, but she worked at a strip club. She got pregnant. They had to turn on the air conditioning to edit or fuse would blow. And he actually saw a black pimp with a white prostitute with braids, like in the car, similar to Nola and similar to DJ. And that's where he got that idea from. Like, yo, this is some wild shit. So all of this is authentic Memphis stuff.
Yep.
He never went to film school. He directed a film called The Poor and the Hungry. That was his first film. It released in 2000. And it's about a Memphis car thief who fell in love with one of his victims. And it was a strong debut. I know we do Too High, Too Low, Just Right at the end of each episode. That movie was a 7.2 out of 10.
Damn.
And he made it with $20,000. So he got the attention of everyone. And it's funny because he described it, Hustle and Flow, this film, as the story of him and his wife making The Poor and the Hungry. He said, so this was kind of like their journey into doing all of that. I mentioned how, she worked at the strip club and they saw certain things. But Craig Brewer was close with his dad. And you guys know I've talked about it before, how close I was with my pops, my love for film, and how he instilled that in me. And his dad would produce his high school plays. So his dad wasn't a producer at all. He was just, loved his son, wanted to help him out.
Yeah.
And he read the script for the movie The Poor and the Hungry. He read the script, his dad did. He read the script for it, told him, like, yo, you should shoot this on DV. So it's like a video. Think of Blair Witch Project.
Okay.
Which I think was even released.
Right.
And he told him to record it on DV. And that same day, tragically, his dad passed.
Man.
The same day he told him that. Yeah, man. And he got the inheritance money, and he took his dad's advice. What he did with that money, he took his dad's advice. He bought that camera, and he made that first movie, The Poor and the Hungry. And like I told you, it was a great success. Matter of fact, speaking of his dad has a presence in Hustle and Flow. There is a scene where Suge gives DJ his chain, which is a famous scene from this movie.
Yes.
Well, in that same scene, DJ talks about a watch from his dad.
Yes. In
real life, that was Craig Brewer's dad's real watch.
Yes.
That was his watch that they put in there. So it was like homage to him. So I love when movies do that. It's crazy what you can learn about a movie, or when you start learning things about it.
Yeah.
They make you look at the movie differently.
Yes.
It's more than just a movie experience. So I thought that was dope. But you know how this story goes. Got this idea, can't get it made. He's talking to everybody, can't get it made. So John Singleton gets involved. Brewer was going around to Hollywood for 1 or 2 years. He has a producer named Stephanie Elaine. And every studio they went to said no or don't cast Terrence Howard. I don't know the reasoning behind the whole Terrence Howard thing.
Right.
But they said, no, we don't cast Terrence Howard. You're too white, or you are white. You can't make this movie, as I mentioned earlier. And Stephanie said that, hey, since you made a good movie for $20,000, then maybe you can make a good one for $500,000. So let's just try to shoot for $500K. And she sold her house, bro. Sold her house and put up half the money for it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just how much she believed in this script and this film.
Yeah. And we hear that story a lot when it comes to films like this. Those what are they, like, independent films? You hear that a lot about 3 or 4 people getting together, and even with all that, John Singleton still had to help finance. Like,
yeah. So it's funny because when you see movies, for everybody listening or watching, and when you see those movies with all these producers, especially big name producers, their producing title usually comes from the fact that they finance the movie.
Yes.
So when you get a ton of people that trying to chip in, especially to these indie projects, that's where that comes from. So that's a good point, School. And just a quick shout out to Stephanie. I want to give her flowers. Stephanie Elaine. This is what this whole podcast is for. We started this because we want to give people their flowers, especially within the culture. Stephanie is the one who found John Singleton and I don't want to say found, but she definitely gave him his shot at Columbia. Stephanie is the one who greenlit Boys in the Hood. When everybody was saying no, she's the one that greenlit it. She saw the vision. So fast forward to 2003, whatever year this is, as far as trying to get Hustle and Flow made.
Right. She
sent the script to John Singleton. Like, yo, we can't get this finance. What you think? John loved it so much to the point where he said, $500,000. I'll get you 10 million. I'll get you 10 million. Hey, and John Singleton, he said this. He said, hey, all you need to do is get me in the room. I just need to be in the room with you. You got it. Once again, we know how this works. Even with John Singleton in the room, they still said, no, we're not making this movie. We are not making this movie. And John Singleton wasn't on record saying this, but Craig Brewer said it. He said, I think that really pissed John off. It really pissed him off. More importantly, for the reason he just made, who was it? Universal? He just made Universal $300 million on Too Fast, Too Furious.
Sheesh.
I just made y'all $300 million. Y'all can't give me $4 million to make this movie?
Exactly. That's insane.
So that pissed him off. So what did John do? John put his house up for collateral, financed the film, and the rest, as they say, is history.
History. Yep.
I want to ask you a question, because this is one thing that I think is important when you talk about this film. How do you think about this movie if it's a different genre? Let's say it's a comedy.
Okay.
Do you think it still has the same effect, or what's your thoughts on that?
I don't think it has the same effect. I think it's ran out of the theaters.
I don't think it gets made, honestly.
Yeah, I
don't think it's made.
Because it has those elements anyway. It has comedy elements to it, and they're just right. It's not over the top. It's perfect, and it doesn't help with Terrence Howard in that main with him. If you don't know, he says it 221 times during this film. And not to go off topic a little bit, but I feel like some of his best work in this movie is he has a lot of dialogue in this movie where he doesn't say man, like, at all. And it's beautiful. It's perfect. It's great. So Man, he did his thing. Maine.
You know, the main doesn't bother me as much. I think mainly because that's a Terrence Howard thing. We always make fun of him for doing that. He made a famous video once poking fun at it as well. So I don't obviously I notice that it's being said and it's authentic to Memphis, but it's not something that's so over the top. I guess like I said, I'm so familiar with it now, it's not noticeable. And it's just Terrence Howard, man. There's just something about him. But the reason I even bring up that whole genre thing is Craig Brewer made this film serious on purpose. Um, he gets pissed off. He said he gets pissed off when people say, "Hey, you just doing a stereotype of black pimps and Memphis." And he said, "I fought for Hollywood not to do a stereotype. Like I gave life to these characters. I made sure that you understood their plight and what their story was about and the things that they were going through." He said, "I could have gotten this film greenlit if I," and this is his words. He said, "if I was making fun of a pimp, or if I got Chris Tucker to play to wear some silk and some Kangos, they would have been greenlit this film." He said, "But I really wanted to give it a heart. I wanted to give it life." Absolutely. And he knows these people in real life. Like I said, he's from Memphis. He knows these people. And he wanted to showcase them. So shout out to Craig Brewer. Shout out to him for like making sure his vision was there. And we'll get into first experiences with this. So school, what was your first experience with Hustle and Flow? You remember the first time you watched it?
First time I watched Hustle and Flow was definitely at on 85.
You watch everything at 85.
I really did, bro. They had every channel, man. Couldn't help yourself.
I will vouch for that.
Yeah. So I watched it on 85, and I honestly, at first, I didn't really like it. It was one of those where I had to grow a little bit to understand it a little bit more, and then once I did, I was like, "Yo, this movie's dope." And Taraji is amazing in this film. Amazing. So, sheesh.
Did you watch it in 05 or 06?
Yes.
Like, do you remember when it was that you watched it?
Yes, 05, 06. It had to be 06, like right when it, goes to the movie channels. So probably around 06. And then I believe I got the soundtrack too. Soundtrack was fire.
Oh, incredible. It's incredible, man. It's incredible. So my first experience, like I said, it's a pretty interesting story. So my first experience was with school.
Talk to him.
Last year? The year before?
Year before.
It was 2021 to 2022. And I know what y'all thinking. Y'all probably like, what? You didn't see Hustle and Flow till 2021? Yeah, it's just one of those that fell through the cracks. And there's a few movies like that for me. And my perception of them is they're so ignorant that I don't even want to watch them. Like, I just remember, like, whoop that trick and all that about a pimp. If you don't know this movie or haven't seen it, then it's just kind of cartoonish. Going back to what I said earlier, it's like the pimp stereotype. Like, what is this? Like, and I know it got nominated, but it just for some reason just didn't. It was nothing that I wanted to rush to see.
I can understand you or anyone else saying they haven't seen this movie, especially because of the main trip and how Terrence Howard sometimes gets played. Like, I think people forget how good of an actor he is sometimes.
Yeah, he's incredible. So, we went into great detail about that in our Best Man episode. If anybody's listening, about role that Terrence Howard plays, and he's been doing this for so long. He's been acting for so long in so many great roles. But School and myself have, we started this thing where there are some movies, believe it or not, that each of us haven't seen. And I don't know how it came about, but we kind of started this thing where we just rotate. So there was a movie. I wish I could. One day I'll remember the full story about what the first movie was, but I remember there are movies School not seeing or me not seeing, and we just kind of like, what? You ain't seen this? So
I think the first one might have been Carlito's Way.
No, you watched. No, I remember that like yesterday.
Okay.
Because you watched Carlito's Way and you hit me up, and I remember being shocked that you had never seen it. But you watched that on your own. I think the first one was Good Will Hunting.
Yes, it was.
If I'm not mistaken. Like, it was one of those random moments where I realized School hadn't seen a movie. And I'm like, what? So I'm like, all right, man, we're going to start a movie you haven't seen. I get to pick it a random day. I'll just tell you, like, hey, we're going to watch Good Will Hunting. And no matter what, you got to sit there and watch it. And we just rotated them. And he knew I never seen Hustle and Flow. So this was one of the ones. And I'll be real with you. First viewing, it was cool, but it wasn't all that. It really wasn't all that. Mm-hmm. Which leads me to this next question. And this is going to be a new segment for the Culture Garden. Was this film better the first time you saw it, or with multiple views? Is it
Definitely.
better? I guess the question is it better or worse from the first time you've seen it?
Yeah. How did it age? I guess is what you asking.
In a
Essentially.
sense, yeah.
Yes, it did. I even in my origin story, after watching it, second, third time is when I was like, okay, I like this. And even for this, it's been a little while since we watched it. Actually, when I made you watch it, it's the last time I watched it previous to this, and I watched it 3 more times, and I was like, bro, this movie's awesome. I thought
So
at first we had that convo. We don't really talk about talk about the movies if people don't know. But I did tell you, like, bro, I had to watch this 3 or 4 times. This movie is it's good to me. It's a good movie.
nah, that's fair because I hadn't watched it since we watched it either.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was rewatching it the first time in preparation for this, it kind of felt a little bit like a chore.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it had some brilliant moments, but for some reason it didn't all come together. And then once you just dissect it and you really look at what this movie's about and what it's trying to say,
Yeah.
it really you can't stop. I don't want to say you can't stop watching it. I don't want to hype it, but it is kind of in a sense you really appreciate it more. And it turns into being something you enjoy versus something you find as a chore.
Yes.
And I found myself just appreciating it and wanting to dive in more and dive deeper into the film and all of that kind of good stuff.
Yes.
Classic or not?
I'm going, yeah, classic. But too many budding careers off this movie, man. And especially for 05.
Yeah. I, I think I'm gonna have to call it a classic as well, but I can understand somebody who says it's not. Um, I can understand if you say it's not, but I do think it's a classic. I think that this film is the acting in it is phenomenal. The story, especially if you are trying to create or figure some shit out in life, like you can't help but to feel this.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a little cartoonish in some areas.
Yes.
One of those rare films I think that I appreciate as a film. A lot of times I look at stories and I'm like, man, I really wish we could have had a little bit more. Make this a mini series or something. I appreciate this being a 2-hour film. I would like to know a little bit more about DJ and just his pimping origin, like how he came into that. But at the end of the day, he's a hustler. Like, I mean,
right.
Insert whether it's pimping, rapping, whatever he's doing. It's funny because he did both in this film.
Yeah.
But just that hustler mentality, just trying to get it. So I can see it. Maybe if we had a scene of him and Nola meeting at that truck lot or something like that. But
yeah,
I don't think it needs anything more than what it is. I do appreciate the film. And I'm going to call it a classic. Man. So we'll get into the categories and we'll just discuss the film and our favorite moments and things like that. School, I'm going to start with you. What's the first scene that you want to lead out with?
The opening scene.
Okay.
Opening scene is classic. I think this is the movie starts off. You can tell that DJ is struggling. DJ is a pimp, and he is doing what pimps do best, and that's talking and trying to get Nola to, essentially sell herself so they can make some money. I couldn't imagine even attempting to get someone to do that. So, man, he starts off, with the typical game. He games her up, gets her together, and before you know it, she's in someone's car.
Yeah. For me, I had that down as my first scene as well, just to piggyback. I've said this numerous times throughout the life of this podcast. I love when we get opening scenes that tell us exactly who these characters are.
Yes.
Even though it is an ensemble cast and we're only meeting 2 of them, like you said, School, even though they don't directly say it, there is a sense of struggle that you see from DJ. He's not like a successful pimp, but he's out here doing what he needs to do. And if you're going to be a pimp, I need to believe that you can successfully talk and do people to do things that they wouldn't normally do without the guidance of a pimp. And just his whole spiel, and it made sense. And it's some pimp shit. It is some pimp, like you just talking. I know Nola has a scene later when I know when you're trying to get in my head because I let you. But this was him really laying it down, and it's a great metaphor. Like we man, we don't have the luxury of being a dog and wandering and not having any kind of aim or purpose. And yes, a dog can live a beautiful life because they're not aware of those things.
Yes.
But yeah, we don't have the luxury of aimless wander.
And especially not worrying about death as well. I think that was the number one thing too. Like, you know, a dog doesn't wake up and be like, oh, I better get on this grind because life is short. Like, that ain't what he's saying.
Yeah.
And another good thing that I saw that was a recurring theme in this movie was that good old Nola pep talk.
Mm-hmm.
The Nola pep talk, because that was not the first or the last.
Yeah, man. Nola, we'll talk about it more, but just pimping in general, like that lifestyle and just that occupation is, first of all, it's a real thing. And there's a scene specifically that I want to talk about it. Okay. So we'll get to that, I'm sure, at some point. If you're listening, bear with us because these might not be linear as far as the scenes go. We're just going to go back and forth and we're just going to build on it from there. But my next scene I have is DJ and Suge. When Suge, I think it's right after they go to that church and they see that woman sing and DJ's crying. And then the next scene, he wakes up Suge out of her sleep. And he's kind of telling her, I don't know if it's a midlife crisis. He starts talking about his dad. You know, his heart stopped when he was 12. And, you know, I'm the same age as he was. Trying to figure out what your purpose is, not knowing what you're supposed to do in this life. Absolutely. Getting to a point where you're stuck and you just need everything to kind of flow. If I don't get any answers soon, it's going to turn out bad for everybody. And something was on his heart to wake her up in the middle of the night. I don't know if it was an experience that he had with Keys going to watch her sing. Yeah. But that's obviously, and we see also that Suge gets his bottom. Yeah. That's the one. Because Nola was there, but he didn't have this conversation. He woke her up out of her sleep and really had a deep talk. And Nola, Suge shared some things about the dream she's having. And, you know, we see her, she's pregnant and everything else. But I just like that conviction that he had in him to, man, like it goes back to the earlier conversation we talked about with dog and man.
Yes.
Dogs don't have that kind of responsibility to worry about what's next, but DJ certainly did. So no matter how much he kicked the good game, in his head, he knew like the clock is ticking and we really got to make something shake. Because not only am I trying to convince Nola of this, I'm trying to convince myself.
Not only that, I'm trying to convince Lexus as well. You know, I'm trying to convince everybody in here.
Wasn't no convincing Lexus, but you know, what you got next?
So let me piggyback off that. I definitely wrote that down. That's definitely one of my favorite scenes. It goes back to what I was speaking on earlier about his vernacular, the way he spoke in this movie. You know, people try to make this very funny with the main shit, but this scene right here, he doesn't say main one time. He's on point. He's on track, and you can see that fear of something in his eyes. You know, it doesn't seem like he's willing to murder or kill anyone, but anything close to that, he's there. Like, I got to figure something out. And I love the fact that Suge tells him essentially, I'm scared, D. Like, it's something that I haven't said it, but I'm scared. The way that man got up and left that room, like, bitch, I ain't scared. Don't ever say that to me. Like, I ain't scared, but we know that's what it is. Like,
I was gonna say, so did you take that as him not being scared or him just trying to convey that to her or kind of put on that front?
Yeah, he was putting on that front for her. I think that he couldn't say that out loud. He couldn't say that to anyone, you know, that he was scared. That's just not a pimp thing.
No, absolutely. You're 100% right. You got to have that confidence and just that ability to make everything work. So, and Taraji in that scene, incredible. Incredible acting. Just the soft. She played that role. It makes you wonder how she got involved in that life because she's so meek and so sincere and so quiet. And there's just this sheer presence about her.
She played that country bumpkin role to the T.
Yeah.
Like if her origin story is like he ran into her on the street somewhere, she was under at a bus stop, it was raining, she was crying, like I would believe it, and he just took her under his wing because their connection is crazy the whole movie.
Yeah, and there's a certain naivete about her as well that she just carries throughout. And like I said, in a world in a film full of you know all the sins that you can think of, there was just something so pure about her.
Yes.
Even though her circumstance, we know she's pregnant, doesn't know who the dad is. It's probably some trick. You'll never find out who that daddy is.
Right.
I don't know. It's just something about her in the way she nailed that role. I don't know too many actors in 2005. Not saying there aren't any, but there's none that really come to the top of my head that can really pull that off.
Yes.
Especially for someone like Taraji with so much range. We know Taraji has so much fire in her as well. And she does that very well. So for her to do this, it shows, all the success that she portrays.
Yeah, she definitely does her thing in this movie. I'm gonna go ahead of you a little bit. The first time Arnell tells him about Skinny Black coming through, as you see, Arnell is running the bar in a kind of a rough part of Memphis. As soon as DJ walks in.
Hold on, talk about. You ever been to Memphis?
No.
I have. Everything's a rough part of Memphis. Let me just say that. I've been to Memphis. Every part is a rough part.
Okay, well, he in Memphis. He visited his homeboy, and his homeboy, he just selling him some bud, and he told him like, "Yo, Skinny Black come over here," and he buy the place out. And it goes back to what you said about, DJ's a hustler. So you saw ASAP his mind start working. He told that man he went platinum. He said, "Hold on. That's better than gold, right?" Like, okay, so he getting that paper. All right, shit. I might bring a QP in this month. Shit.
Not even that, man. He did the classic, what every classic and any ghetto USA, any city USA does. Oh yeah, man, I know him, man.
Man,
we went back, man. We used to DJ at different schools. Yep. Yeah, he did that classic line. So obviously that comes up later on in the movie.
Yes,
but I did enjoy that scene as well. I did enjoy that scene. Let me take it back. Maybe not every part. Wherever Penny Hardaway and them live, all the rich people, the Grizzlies, that's not a rough part of Memphis. But they probably live on the outskirts. Yeah, they probably don't live in Memphis city limits. Yeah, but yeah, Memphis is. Yeah, shout out to Gus's Fried Chicken too, by the way.
Man, shout out to Gus's.
Yeah, man. The next scene I had, Whoop That Trick.
Okay,
Whoop That Trick might be my favorite scene in the movie.
Mm-hmm. I can appreciate that.
Yeah, I don't know if it is or not, but it's definitely top two. If it's not my favorite, it's definitely top two.
Okay.
For one, it's hard for me to care about music. Like if there's an artist in a movie, not a biopic, obviously, but just some fictional artist, and he's making a song. Usually 9 times out of 10, that music's trash.
Yeah.
But for this song to just be so hard and still be relevant and iconic to this day, the Memphis Grizzlies use this as their rallying chant.
Yeah,
Whoop That Trick. So for that, and I'll tie it back to just the creating. If you're in that space and there's so much doubt and so much doubt and so much doubt, and then all of a sudden you hit gold.
Mm-hmm.
You got these 3 guys in the room just trying to collab and make something work. And I love when Anthony Anderson's character Key, they're trying to get the beat going and come find it, Shell, find it.
Mm-hmm.
Let me speed it up. And you just, like I said, tweaking around with things, playing with it, and you realize, hold on, we might have something here. And everything worked at once. And just that one moment, DJ saw his dreams come together. He saw that maybe I can do this, because doubt always creeps in your mind. I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
But he saw, all right, then this might actually come together. And it sounded good. And everybody was into it. And Anthony Anderson hyping him up when he's spitting. Just Anthony expression acting. Y'all know I love expression acting. The way he was listening to them bars, scrunching his face up.
Yeah.
You got Shelly on the keyboards doing his thing.
Yes.
Everybody's hyped. Suge comes in. Nola comes in. They all doing the anthem. And just this sweaty, grimy room. Like you said, you chasing your dreams. Then all of a sudden you realize you got a banger. And I love Shelby at the end. All right, now let's go smoke that joint.
Yeah,
like just a perfect comedic moment right after that intense, like Let's find this. I love everything about that scene. Like I said, it's just that hope. Because I have a dream, but now actually, oh shit, this actually could work. Like this is actually pretty good. I didn't even know I could do this.
Dope. Excuse me. Dope ass scene. That's definitely one of my favorite scenes. I love, like you said, how it all came together. And one thing that you said that was very, very great is if I'm watching this at home, like it's 2006, I'm 16, 17. Music in a movie, I'm usually fast forwarding. No, watching this. This ain't a Tyler Perry play. I'm watching all this music.
Shout out to Tyler Perry, man.
Shout out to Tyler Perry.
y'all know I picked both the Tyler Perry movies on this pod so far. I'm probably gonna pick all of them, man. I can't wait to do the next one. I might do Meet the Browns next. Or Medea's Family Reunion. That might be next on my list.
Right.
But even that beat, man, like you said, I just can't say enough about the music just because it shouldn't. Music like that in movies shouldn't be that good.
Mm-hmm.
Especially from some pimp named DJ in I think it was North Memphis.
Yeah, this movie also helped put rap on the map. Is just being taken serious. I know people credit 8 Mile too, and then there was Get Rich or Die Trying, but I think this is the one.
You say taking serious, what you mean?
It doesn't have,
So when you say taking serious, what you mean? Like it's rap. Rap been
but what I mean is just like as an actor, like how you said, 5 years from that moment, they would have got T.I. or a real rapper to be in this movie. But for them to take an actor and to put him in this movie says a lot, to me at least.
Okay.
Okay. And he delivered, bro. It's not easy to get on a beat and to jump in the pocket, and especially if you really don't do that. So shout out to Terrence. Like he did his thing.
Terrence, the research he did for this role was incredible. We'll talk about that later on.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it later on. But what's your next scene?
My next scene, the skinny black scene, man. The
Which
right
one?
before, when they're all chilling and smoking and hanging out at it looks like a I don't want to say the skating ring, but they were hanging out at a car show or something of that nature. I'm sorry.
Hold on, are you talking about the scene where Key asked him if he knew Skinny Black or what's going on with Skinny Black? Okay, then got you. Yeah, I have that as well. I just have it as the parking lot scene.
Yeah, the parking lot scene. Yes, they're just in the parking lot hanging out. He just pretty much asked him, like, is this thing with Skinny for real? And he ain't really give him a chance. He was like, because if it's not, it's a 1 in a million chance. Then he starts talking about his wife, how, my wife's a good woman. She just, I talk the big game. Like most, I'm a married man. I've been with my wife for 10 years, been married for 8. And bro, that scene hits harder than it ever did. I talked the big game when I was 23 years old, about what we gonna be doing, cruise every week, living lavish. And nigga, I just go to work every day, and like it ain't nothing like I said it would be. And if you get that chance to do something big, you take that shot. And that's what he was doing, man. That's what he did. Yeah. Anthony Anderson showed out in this movie. He definitely showed he was more than a comedic role.
Actor.
Yeah,
definitely more than a comedic actor. I have that scene down as well for slightly different reasons. Some of the same, some a little bit different. I've had the conversation with you recently, School, when not about this, but it just in my personal life as well. But when Key goes to DJ and just says this shit gotta work.
Yeah.
It's gotta work. Like, it has to. Like, I'm just, going back to what you said, talking that big game. A lot of women, one thing that I noticed, they'll say, don't introduce me to an energy you can't maintain.
Right.
I expect this is who you are out the gate, then I expect this or greater moving forward. And as a man, and not to make it super patriarchal or sexist, whatever, it is important to us to make sure that we are who we say we are. We're doing the things that we say we're going to do. And like I said, it ties into that scene with DJ talking to Suge that I mentioned earlier. It just hits a point where you're like, man, I'm struggling. I need to make it. I need something to shake. And we saw Key just kind of living that mundane life.
Yeah.
And just going through the motions, and a random stop in a corner store and he bumping into DJ. he wasn't thinking about that a week ago, but now he's got a little bit of hope. Like, maybe we can do something. And Skinny Black, he might not put all the chips in that basket, but that hope that he has wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes that's all you need to kind of get the battery in your back.
Yeah, and even earlier, the scene earlier when they were at dinner, and he was talking to Yvette, his wife, and she was just rambling and going on. You could tell he was so used to that he was eating it. Yeah, mm-hmm. Yeah, mm-hmm. Like,
you can do that.
Yeah, to the point where she stopped talking just to see, and he like, oh shit, you stopped talking? My bad. Like, I'm so used to just nodding my head and going with the flow. Like,
man, we all got to have something that motivates us. It's something that we're trying to obtain and trying to go after. Otherwise, you do get caught in that cycle, and then you look up and it's like, damn, like 5 years went by, 6 years went by. Yeah. If you're not careful. So that's why I had that scene in there. School, what's your next scene? Or is it on me?
No, it's on you. Yep, it's on you.
Okay then. So I got Lex getting kicked out, which is a rough scene.
It's rough.
It is a rough scene. It is a when you think about a movie, it just shows that other side of this pimp life.
Mm-hmm.
So for one, you have everybody struggling together. Mm-hmm. Right. So you already got questions like, why y'all even still here with them? Like, there's 3 women in this house, no AC. This comes right after this parking lot scene that we just discussed, and DJ forgot to go pick her up from the strip club.
Mm-hmm.
And she's at the crib arguing with Suge, going at it. And she just had enough, man. She realized, or she felt that she was the one that's making everything shake. Yep. I'm the one bringing in the money. I'm the one making sure I'm providing you. Just because you pimp me, quote unquote, you ain't doing shit. You ain't working for nothing. Mm-hmm. And she started feeling herself.
Yep.
And all the stereotypical pimp movies and pimp series we know, they beating them down and all that. And we see a little bit of violence, but nothing too crazy. But it just shows the doubt that happens when they start kicking on your ass.
Yeah.
And DJ's just, the way he lights up that cigarette, it was kind of like one of those, I don't have it in me right now.
Yeah.
I need something to take this edge off.
Mm-hmm.
And she just followed him. She wasn't having it. You know what I mean? Oh, you little bitch. Play with your little toy. Like, she was going in on that man.
She did her thing in this movie, Paula J. Parker.
Oh, she was incredible.
She was incredible in this movie. She definitely believed she was the breadwinner. She was definitely fed up with him and his bullshit. She felt like, yo, I'm the breadwinner. So if I'm to be picked up from work, you need to be there 30 minutes early. You feel me? Like earlier. If I'm in here giving a lap dance, you need to sit in the corner and wait, nigga.
So you my chauffeur. You ain't my pimp. You my chauffeur.
My chauffeur. I like the part of, I hope you don't expect no money because I spent all my money on the cab to get home. Like, it was always an excuse why she didn't have his money as well. He was fed up.
I felt her on that one though.
Yeah, after he talked to Suge and poured his heart out, he knew. Imagine that if he would have took that to, look how she acted when he told her about Skinny Black. That's a prime example of where she was at. She said, what, I'm supposed to get down and piss myself because you said Skinny Black? Nigga, I don't care about that shit. Like, we got bills to pay.
Lex wasn't going, bro. Lex was not going. And I think that scene is a metaphor also of the pain that can be caused when you have to remove someone from your life.
Absolutely.
It just doesn't fit with you anymore, or it's bringing too much negativity. He didn't necessarily want to, but it had to. They wouldn't have got where they ended up if Lex was still around with that negative energy.
Absolutely.
And it wasn't, Suge was crying. You got to kick the baby out. And that's the rough part.
That's the hard part.
Where do they go? Where do these women go? What happens when they fall out with their pimp? Who's looking out for them after that? Like, it's just, we know she's going to figure it out.
The hell, as far as he's concerned.
Oh, yeah, he dogged her shit. But it's a rough scene to watch, Man, I had to put it in there. Like I said,
I agree. That's definitely in my scenes. And I think another thing about that scene was they had that scene is necessary because it was almost to a point where we were kind of, as a viewer, I don't want to say falling in love with DJ, but we damn sure was on his side. to the point where it needed to be a scene where we're reminded this man is a pimp, and these are the type of decisions that he makes, or he has to make sometimes. Are those decisions where it's like, yo, get the fuck out, you and your baby. Like, that's insane, bro.
Yeah, he didn't care.
The baby out.
Yeah, get the baby out. But that's what he's gonna do. Separate. That's not his kid.
Right.
He goes to mama, and that's to your point that you just made. These are the difficult decisions you have to make. Like, you can't really have a heart.
Yep.
Iceberg Slim, Iceberg Slim for a reason. Like, you gotta make.
Look how he was talking to that baby. Stop all that crying, man. It's all that bitch shit, man. Like, that's his mindset. Like, ain't none of that crybaby shit. Even as a year-old baby, shut the hell up. Stop it.
And just that's the one thing, whether you know about pimp life or not, you can't tolerate that kind of disrespect, especially from your host.
Mm-hmm.
She was all types of wilding out, because if she does it, it's like anything else. If she gets away with it, then everybody else can look at it that they can get away with it. So if you don't put your foot down and set the tone early, it's gonna go all bad.
Yeah.
What do you have for your next?
No, Lexus had a perfect stripper name, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you say? Sorry.
Yeah. What's your next scene?
The DJ and DJ and Key fight, leading up to Whoop That Trick. Or I'm sorry, not Whoop That Trick, but it's Hard Out Here for
a Pimp.
So even before that scene, just that little montage of them carrying groceries and him when he figures out the name, when he's talking like, yeah, because it's hard out here for a pimp. I love the fact he's like, I like that. Like, had to put his shit down so he can write that down. And I know
you talking about the moment when they were walking.
Yes,
he was carrying something. Yeah. I like that, man.
I like that, man. Hold on, it's hard. Like, as a creator, like, sometimes when something hits your brain, you gotta stop what you're doing immediately and Surrey, take a note or something so you can put that, write that down. And that's exactly what he did. But everyone was stressed. Key was stressed out. His wife was on his ass. She was sick of him essentially hanging out with pimps and hoes. Like, yo, where are you at? You need to come home. I miss you. I'm cooking dinner. Nobody's here. And he's stressed out because, like he said to, DJ, like, bro, we just putting verses down. Like, we need a song. Like, I need something that we can give to the radio to play. And that's when they came up with, it's hard out here for a pimp. Mm-hmm. And Suge did her thing, man. You can see it in her eyes how grateful she was, and that's a later scene, but even in that scene prior, you can see how grateful she was that she was included in something. It seems like she's just been help for them to an extent. She was taking care of the baby and making sure everybody else got their breaks and everything they needed, but she wasn't really getting much love around her.
And they alluded to that in that earlier scene, that the fact that she's pregnant.
Yeah. She can't do nothing.
She can't trick her out. So you got to be a helping hand around here some way, somehow. But I also had that scene, just to piggyback off what you were saying. When you get a room full of people who are desperate and they have to make something shake, we've already talked about the theme of everybody needs this. They need this to work. And you start to get desperate. And you look at your conditions, and you got a poor man's soundproofing with the cup holders, and you don't have any AC. You got all these fans going around, and you've been at it for a few days or who knows how long. And after a while, if you're going to start putting your time into these things, to the point where Key's missing dinner, so you're working late nights, then you want to see some kind of result. You want to see something come from that, and the tensions started rising.
Yeah.
And first of all, you can't mention someone's wife, especially in a sexual nature.
Mm-hmm.
Key wasn't going, and I appreciate that, because Key, I guess when you first meet him, because he's lived such a different lifestyle from DJ.
Yeah.
He kind of, you can portray him as a sucker in a sense. They built him to where he's scared of his wife in a way.
Yeah.
Even though he did set some tones, respect my house when they first showed up to his house, things like that, but. You don't see him living that same lifestyle as DJ. So it's almost a little bit of a surprise when you're first watching this movie and you see him slap DJ, like, pretty much like, man, keep my wife out your mouth.
He slapped the fuck out of DJ, bro.
Especially when the pimp is the one that's supposed to be doing. He's supposed to be the aggressor, but he wasn't going. So obviously, keep people's wife's name out your mouth. Will Smith taught y'all that.
Yes.
But Key was the first one, and Suge came in just completely oblivious to any kind of beef or tension. She saw something that can just be a boost of spirits, man. I just need. Hey, I saw this. Skinny Black had one of these. You should have one too. All right, y'all get back to work. And I love when Shelby was like, y'all believe in omens? Like sometimes it's those little small things that just hit them. Like, yo, let's get her on the hook. Let's just see what it sounds like. It's a demo. Let's see what it works. And like you said, my favorite part of that scene is her covering her mouth with her hand.
Yeah.
She hears herself for that first time because you know how much it meant to her and how she never in a million years would have thought she would have been on a track or even had the capability to do anything great. Like I said, you talk about the lifestyle and just where she is in her life, and you know your expectations at a certain point are just very limited as far as how far you're going to go. So that was otherworldly to her, and the fact that she was able to hear that, and that, like I said, Taraji's expression acting, it's incredible. You have to feel something every time you see it. I love that moment for it, even though I know it's coming.
Yeah.
What you got, or is it me next? I think.
Yeah, you're up. You're up.
Yeah, because I piggybacked off your words. For me, the microphone scene.
Okay, I'm with you.
So this follows right after the second half of this movie. If you guys haven't noticed, because I think we're probably doing these scenes, you know, in a linear fashion. The second half of this movie is incredible.
Yes,
but I enjoy when DJ's trying to get the mic and he's talking to the guy at the store and he pimps Nola out for it. And Nola was just, even though it's not a pimp movie per se, that's one thing that was very fascinating. What happens when you're just frustrated and you're done with this shit? Like you still, we live in this absolute world where a pimp is a pimp and a hoe is a hoe.
Yes.
We don't take into consideration the fact that they have a life or they have families and they have past and they once had dreams. And for the most part, I think it's fair to say any pimp / hoe, and maybe not so much for the pimps, but definitely the hoes, it wasn't the first option. I don't think there's too many people that wake up wanting to do that. And this scene shows that human side. Like, yes, I know this is my profession. I know this is what I do, but you pimping me out like I am, she said, a cash machine. And that's not cool. Like, I won't say it, everything I do. And I love the moment. And of course, everybody knows it. Do you know what I do back there in the back of them cars? Do you? Her crying out to him because I do all of this shit for you, man. I do all of this shit for this operation. Like, you have no idea the shit that I carry with me.
Yeah.
It's funny. I'm a part of another podcast called Good Earner Sopranos. And we just had an episode in season 2. And one of the topics I was talking about was just Tony, the fact that he's a boss. You know, anytime he has to catch a body or do something that he doesn't want to do, there's a weight that's, you don't always have the luxury of being able to outlet or vent about. But you carry that with you. You carry it, and it just becomes so heavy. And you felt that happen for Nola in that moment. Like, I don't even want to do this, but if we gotta, everybody has something that they're doing right now, except for me. Like I said, this movie has a lot about purpose and just dreams and the clock ticking before it's too late. And I just love how it was acted out, and just seeing that. Like I said, I don't think I've ever looked at a hoe, and I'm only saying that because that's what they're called, pimps and hoes. But I've never looked at that a character like that and thought about the human side of her.
Yeah,
and that's it. It was just a perfect portrayal of it, and I had to shout it out because I think Taryn Manning just did a phenomenal job in this film.
She was great, bro. It was a lot of, like you said earlier, everyone came to perform. Everyone. If all of these characters or actors, would have been nominated, it would have been fair. This would have been fair, all of them.
Absolutely. What you got next?
When DJ finally meets Skinny. Well, no, leading up to that, I'm sorry. Right. So yes, he did meet Skinny, but right before he left, when Suge comes to him and gives him that chain, and how she's just so humble and sweet, and she really wanted him to know, like, that meant everything to me. I love how it goes back to me talking about her being a country bumpkin. Like, I know you're gonna get rich and famous, and you ain't gonna need me no more. You're gonna have big stars singing on your song, so it just means a lot for you to have me on this demo. And I know you like when people get your name right. So, like, and that meant everything to him. And I think that was that moment, obviously, where he knew he loved her. That it was more than her just being a bottom bitch. Someone who loves you does things like that, you know. I'm sure they've been through a lot of shit. And I mean, essentially, he's her pimp. Um, and wow, that was just an incredible scene. That's the one that I feel like she should have been nominated, and that's the scene that could have got her nominated.
Yeah, I can say that. I can say that for sure.
Yeah,
Like the gratitude, they needed each other.
yeah,
They both made each other feel special, and Suge had that. I'm not even supposed to be here. Like that's never supposed to happen to somebody like me. Look at me. Look at my circumstance. I'm carrying a child. I don't know what the dad is. I'm a hoe. I'm out here living on this couch. This is as good as it's gonna get. This is, statistics say this is as good as it's gonna get for me.
yep.
And here I am listening to myself on the track on this demo of this dope ass song. Like there's no words sometimes that can express how thankful you are for that. So I have to shout that out as well. I had that written down in my scenes also. Um, my final scene was just the final 30 minutes
Yeah,
of this film, starting with him going to Arnell's. Everything about that is the moment of truth. The crew is making sure, and I also forgot to shout this out. Just a little moment in the film when they're trying to record and they hear that music, and he has to go over to the neighbor's house.
yeah,
The neighbor's played by DJ Paul, but obviously there's some history there. There's some kind of beef or issue, but him coming about it respectful and asking him, not demanding, but asking him to turn it down because he's got some really important things to get done.
that ass.
I'm always been a big person about approach.
That's what it's about.
If you come in everything with some good energy, if
Mm-hmm.
you get anything besides that, then it's them and not you, because you gave them no reason to come at you that way. Obviously, we don't know the backstory. We know there's a history there, but it was enough to where, and he brought some gifts, he brought some buds, and that was enough to, whatever bullshit we had going on, I got you. I'm gonna turn this music down so you can get whatever you got going. He didn't explain what he was doing. He just said, I got to get something done, and it requires some quiet. Can you please help me out? He could have easily been like, man, fuck you, get off my porch. But it was some cool, humble shit, and I appreciate moments like that. So I want to shout that out. But going back to the bar, there's this question the whole film of, does DJ even know Skinny Black? He's been mentioning, and we get that little tease. I know that who I think it is.
Oh, that's so good.
So my eyes deceive me right now.
Yes.
And then DJ Terrence Howard, the look on his face, the way him and Arnell have a moment, because everybody, Arnell even like, damn, this nigga really do know him, huh?
Really do know him. I think real quick, I remember when we watched this for the first time, and I remember ASAP looked at you when that part happened, because I'm like, I wonder if he know this nigga, and you was intrigued, like, oh shit, maybe he do. And then that shit happened, we got weak, like nigga don't know him, man.
Yeah, man, I can't believe my eyes, but that scene, like I said, the whole entire scene, because this is a long scene. I won't break it down bar for bar. We mentioned at the beginning of our favorite scenes about DJ being a pimp.
Mm-hmm.
He pimped DJ. There was a moment in this film where he said, if I can pimp $20 hoes out the Chevy, I know I can pimp DJ. I know I can pimp Skinny Black.
Yep.
And what the fuck happened to you, man? That whole moment, because Skinny Black was out here fooling.
Yep.
Just a guy who forgot about his hometown, doesn't care about nothing. The last thing he wanted to do was listen to your demo or your cassette tape.
Nope.
And DJ just having the gall in him to just be like, man, what happened to you, man? Like, I remember. And it was inspiring because for a lot of people, let's take Memphis for this situation, since the movie's based there. Like, Skinny Black represents them.
Yeah.
Whether he wants to or not. Like there's a city full of people who are never going to experience these things that you have. And he pulled it out, not the successful shit. I mean, that's a big hip hop thing. He took it back to his early tape. Like I remember when you first made this, when this, one day all this gonna be going, this club, this city, this country, it's all gonna turn into dust. They're gonna be digging up the pyramids, and when they start digging this up, if they want to tell you about me, Memphis, all they gotta do is play your first album or your first tape.
I love it.
The fact that he had the copy with him, that's some pimp shit.
I love it.
Slid it over to him. He's like, man, I ain't even got none of these. Where you got 1,000 more of them left in you, man. All you gotta do is come home. Yeah. Just getting that in and just talking his way into a good place with Skinny Black to the point where we see them just together. Yeah. It was just them two having a moment and really talking. And you felt like things were on the upswing for DJ. And like I said, he handed him a cassette, which is crazy.
That's insane.
Even though they did mention, like, hey, if they need some CDs, we have to work on that. But
yeah.
I know your favorite part is always in the bathroom and stuff like that. But everything leading up to it, it was just a really... For someone who could have been cartoonish, like when DJ applied himself, he was really good. Like it makes you think if he had real resources, what could he have done?
Yes, he was damn good in that scene and in that position. Think about what Skinny Black was there for. Skinny Black was there to chill. He wasn't really on no business shit. He had a little shorty in his lap in the midst of the very beginning when DJ
God bless America,
huh?
He said, "God bless America." She had that red, white, blue.
So he was distracted and he went to that noggin and was like, "Yo, what can I say? How can I?" He lit a cigarette and knew, like, I know what to do, and it worked. But like you said, when he handed him that cassette tape, it was like, I know it's 05, but like he said, like, it's a new millennium, bro. Like, I'm driving a 06 something crazy out here. Like, ain't nothing like a cassette tape out here, bro. But yeah, that's insane, and that's going into my favorite end scene is that bathroom scene. Like when he goes to the bathroom. He comes out with DJ goes with Arnell while Skinny Black's in the bathroom. DJ celebrating pretty much, let's take a shot. Like,
you got to find somebody else to get your weed from, man.
Yeah, all that, bro. Like he was pretty much celebrating. Like, I know next year I might not even know you niggas. Like, I ain't gonna come back and shut this shit down. So, so you better keep Skinny Black in your Rolodex, nigga. Like.
And it shows the confidence that he had in his products. He kept saying all he got to do is play it and it will be undeniable. And we knew that from listening throughout the film. Like, yo, this is some heat.
It is. It was some heat, man. And when he...
Hold on real quick.
Walked in the bathroom willing to zip that man, pick him up and unzip his pants and let him use the restroom because he knew he was going to take his tape to somebody. Somebody was going to change his life. And when that man looked in that toilet,
yeah, man, that's all bad. That's all bad,
bro. I can't even compare it to anything because I don't know. Like I don't know.
I remember thinking, Skinny Black super pissy drunk, and maybe it did slip out, but the movie did a great job of double down. Like, hey, you say something, yeah, I said, suck my dick,
yeah,
bitch. Like, even if that was an accident, you still talking reckless, man. And I gotta whoop your ass.
He said, I missed you, Jay. Another sign, like, you didn't know this nigga for real. He told him earlier he didn't really know him. Like, when he was trying to dog him, like, nigga, you don't even know me. Like,
he ain't no DJ. Like, yeah, we picked. As soon as they did the little, I know that who I think it is. As soon as they did that, I knew he did not know him for real.
He did not know that, man. He did not. And
so much time sometimes passes where it could have been something where they did know each other once upon a time, maybe a brief passing, but there's been so much time, and Skinny Black's been around so many people.
Yeah,
where, like, I don't know you. Like, if you don't do anything that makes you stand out, but that's what DJ did in that scene. He did something to make himself stand out. So from this point moving forward, he could remember. I talked to you about at Arnell's 4th of July. I handed you your tape. Oh yeah, I remember you now.
Mm-hmm.
Because Skinny Black wasn't happy. Like, bro, he was mad disrespectful.
Yeah, he
Got a
was.
bunch of yes men around him.
Mm-hmm.
The worst type of people that you need.
Said he knew
Worst
them
type of
niggas was
people.
pimping him out. Yeah, they pimping me out. Like,
He was talking about the music execs. He was talking about
okay.
he wasn't talking about his own crew.
Okay.
He said, yeah, the money people and all that. I know they pimping me, but you got to do what you got to do. So, even after that, even after the shootout, when he whoops Skinny Black's ass to the point where him getting arrested at the house, I love how first the fact that Skinny Black's crew even got one in on him while he handcuffed. But I love the fact that Key and Shelby wasn't going, bruh. They
Nah,
wasn't going. You jump on my man, we jumping right back.
we jumping right back. Back. But that's one of those things that kind of bothered me is like, how did they beat him to his house? How did Skinny Black and them know where he stayed at?
I don't know. That's a good
You
question.
know what I mean? Like, but yeah,
that's why we had that. That's why we had that category. Things that bother you.
Yeah.
But yeah, that all of that. Like I said, just having your dudes back, and the cops are here, so you can't pull out no gun on me. So we can shoot the fair one.
Yeah.
So Key and Shelby, both of them rushed over, and Suge out there, him telling Nola, "You in charge?
Yes.
Put my song on the radio," and her taking that serious. She was looking for something to do. She was looking for her purpose. That whole movie.
Yes.
And she going back to an earlier scene where he says, I just need to get you a business suit, one of the microphones. She got one for herself, and she took herself seriously and went to all these radio stations.
And it's so super cool that she used his speech to get his song on the radio. Like that last pep talk was the best one. Like, you in charge. Tell me, like, listen, hear me. Let me.
I'm in charge.
I'm in charge. Like, yeah, like, and she did what she was supposed to do. My favorite, I know we should be going into quotes. That's one of my favorite quotes is from Key. Did you know Skinny before that night, man? I used to say that shit so much randomly. Hey, man, did you know Skinny before that night?
Yeah, man. He said something. Hey, I do like that part where he just said, one day that baby, because he just got.
That was
I forget the baby's name.
Keisha.
I forget the baby's Keisha. Yes, Keisha. Yeah, of course. How could I forget that? You say, one day that girl's gonna come up to me, and she got a hoe for her mama and a trick that who knows where for a daddy. She's gonna ask me if she can be president. I'm gonna lie.
I'm a lie.
And that was just a perfect scene and analogy. Of course I don't know Skinny Black, but I lied. I faked it to make it. And you only get one shot. Speaking of music movies, shout out to 8 Mile. You only get one shot. But when you do get it, you got to take advantage of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
He did.
Would Shelby have worked so hard? Would have mixed that shit so clear? You know what I mean? Like, it was motivation. You thought you were going to, this sound was going to be heard by Skinny Black and it was going to change our lives. So it motivated. It worked.
And I love the fact for 2 things before we go into the best quotes. One, just the joy of hearing your shit on the radio.
Yep. I'm sure that's a different type of feeling.
Yeah, Shelby is similar to when Suge heard herself, but when Shelby actually heard that and got hyped, like, yo, this is me. I produced this. I made this beat.
Yeah.
And then the final part is just the credit that you get. I love the fact that the DJ was like, hey, man, DJ, you got to hit me up and call me, man. Did you really slap Skinny Black? Like, when those little rumors start going around. Hey, yeah, you got more credit. We're going to play this even more because I heard you slap Skinny Black up.
Hey,
so that was really dope. That was really dope. As far as best quotes, I got a few of them. Do you want to start? Or you want me to kick it off with mine?
Go ahead. Kick it off. I'm curious.
All right, man. When I forget, I think it was Key talking to DJ. So you trying to hurt my feelings? Just trying to help out a friend. You need those people around you that's just going to give you that real truth. I talked about Skinny Black having yes men around him. Key plenty of times throughout this film told him, like, yo, I know you hype, but it's not good enough yet. We still got stuff we need to work on. We still need this microphone. You need a chorus. And kind of taking the air out of his balloon. But it was all for good reason, because I do this and I know that we can go to another level. And eventually it worked. If they didn't follow all of that, he probably never would have been on the radio. So I think all of that played a factor. It's just one of those quotes, because sometimes the unpopular truth is the one that people need to hear the most. DJ, I'm Gateway, motherfucker. That's one of my favorite would do is looking for some. I don't know if he's looking for crack or whatever
he's looking for something stronger than weed. That's a fact.
Yeah, the guy that he ended up getting that keyboard from, that
Yeah.
scene. And so he told him, I'm gateway, motherfucker. That's something I use in life. Oh,
Hey.
when Shelby first came to the house, DJ was like, "You Mormons are some brave motherfuckers."
Hey, straight up.
And I got two more. One is when they were talking about the whoop that trick scene, and they couldn't, you talking about beat that bitch, stomp that hoe. Like this ain't gonna get played on the radio. And I love when Shelby interjected and was like, "Nah, man, it looked like a tear up the club anthem."
Yeah.
Not to mention, most of the bitches I know are guys.
Hey.
That part alone, most of the bitches I know are guys. That's one of my favorite quotes. And then lastly, probably my favorite quote in the movie, and I think it's because of the delivery.
Yeah.
From Paula J. Parker. The
delivery already know
was
what
phenomenal.
It is.
Yep, you already know, man. Everybody else said my hair looks sexy, and then they nut. She said it so matter of factly, didn't care. Yeah, man.
Oh shit!
What you got? Anything else besides those?
I have every single one of those. The only one that I have that's different is when the very first scene when he goes into Arnell's and DJ say, "Hey, man, you need some security." I'm no security. This motherfucker. That's classic. I ain't trying to call no hoe no bitch. That's it.
Yeah, I ain't trying to call no hoe no bitch, man.
I ain't trying to call no hoe no bitch, man. But anything else you got, man, that's classics.
Who you got for scene stealing?
Whoo, Taraji. Drink in your hand and pussy in your lap. Forgot that one.
And he said, "Do it right after he said, I need that." I'm trying to think of scene stealer, man. I didn't have anybody written down because there's so many. So Terrence Howard is the lead. I think Anthony Anderson has enough screen time to be considered a lead. Man. Because this person wasn't a lead per se and didn't have a lot of screen time, I got to put Paula J. Parker.
Okay. Bro,
she was phenomenal.
My second pick. That's who I had.
When I tell you that Terrence Howard, Anthony Anderson, Taraji, Taryn Manning, DJ Qualls,
everybody.
If you mess up one of those roles, this movie's not the same.
Yep.
Everybody did what they had to do. Like I can't. It was hard for me to narrow it down.
I think everyone's career after this movie shows that maybe besides DJ, like DJ didn't take off. They attempted anyway prior to this. He had a whole movie and everything. The New Guy, if you know. But everyone else, I would say, took off after this.
Yeah, indeed, man. What did you have any things that bother you?
What did I say earlier? Oh, how they beat him home, like how Skinny Black's crew beat him home. But other than that, no.
Or even knew where he lived.
Yeah,
I'm sure they found out from Arnell.
Yeah, I guess that.
You introduced us where he do live. Like it's Memphis. It's not a big city. Right. So I'm sure all of that could have been found.
Okay.
And plus the cops was there too. Maybe they followed the cops. I don't know. But I feel you on that. Things that bother you. I didn't have anything really. I think everything kind of it's a pimp in Memphis. It kind of made sense for anything as ridiculous as it happened that I believe it.
Right.
Cultural moments, the whole movie. Any actors from The Wire? Nope. Soundtrack, we talked about that. The soundtrack was incredible. Wouldn't let that happen to me. Do you have anything for that?
No.
I don't have anything either. Like I said, I think in any kind of movie about pimps, is a fair game. Yeah. It's hard to prevent much. You got any trivia for us?
Listen, bro. The wildest trivia that I have is, bro, Terrence Howard spent time with 123 pimps and 78 prostitutes to prepare for this role. Like that's insane, bro.
Mm-hmm.
He lived in Memphis for I think 2 years. For about 2 years for this role too.
No, he spent 2.5 years researching.
Okay.
So the 2.5 years was for all of those 123 pimps and 78 prostitutes. He lived with 4 different pimps, so including a 1-month stint in a Memphis brothel.
Okay, that's what it was.
He spent a month in a brothel and he got it down. He really got it down. I know you mentioned that he said Maine 221 times. I also want to just shout out Al Capone. He's mentioned in this film. He's not seen, but he's mentioned. He's a Memphis hip hop artist, and he's the one that wrote "Whoop That Trick." He wrote it in like 2000, 2001, and it was really a case of mistaken identity how it even got into the film. So Craig Brewer was expecting a call from, I think, DJ Paul, which was in 3 6 Mafia. He was expecting a call because he wanted to hire him to make some songs for the film. As we know, they won an Oscar for it. And Capone knew Brewer just through the Memphis music scene. They both Memphis cats. And he called him at that very same time he was expecting this call from DJ Paul. So Brewer was like, he answered the phone blindly. This is 2005, so you just kind of answer the phone. Yeah, I want to talk about the music. Oh, yeah. We really want your music in the movie. And Brewer immediately agreed. Like, yeah, sure, let's do it. Let's get your music in here. After a few minutes, it was small talking. He realized, like, this isn't DJ Paul. Like, I don't know who I just told that they had a movie in the film in the movie. And he was too embarrassed to back out of it. He was just too embarrassed to back out of the deal. He told him, you can audition one song. And he had 24 hours to write a song for DJ. He sent the script by courier. It was given to Terrence Howard to discuss the character. Excuse me, he had Terrence Howard's phone number to discuss the character of DJ. And that next day, he performed Hustle and Flow. And he did it for Craig Brewer and John Singleton. And they loved the song so much that they used I think 3 more of his songs for the soundtrack.
Absolutely.
That was just an anthem. So he still goes to Memphis Grizzly games and does the Whoop That Trick on all of that. Like I said, it's a Memphis anthem. That was one of their playoff anthems this past year. That's all the trivia I had. Did you have anything else?
Taraji, Anthony Anderson, and Terrence Howard all went to Howard University, man. Dope. Black alumni, Black college. That's about it, man.
Yeah.
That's about it for me.
All right. That pretty much wraps it up for us. Before we get out of here, we like to rate these movies.
Yeah.
The average viewer rates this film 7.3 out of 10. Too high, too low, just right.
It's too low. I got it at 8.2.
I got it at 7.5. 7.6.
Okay.
7.6. So yeah, I do think it's too low. I'm not giving it an 8 range, but I'll definitely give it a 7.6. So yeah. Anything else to add?
Hell of a movie. I love Terrence Howard. I honestly don't think this role is taken serious enough because of that main shit. Like, people steady hanging on that main. But his best scenes, he doesn't say main in any of them. So it is what it is. Shout out to Terrence Howard. Shout out to everyone in this cast. Everyone. Taryn Manning, DJ Kells, like you said, Anthony Anderson, Paula J. Parker. Everyone showed up and showed out, man. Everyone. You said, I don't think if they switched anyone, if they was to switch anyone, even if like Nia Long was to play Lexus, like that'd be a different movie.
Wrap it up. I don't even want to think about that. Wrap it up. So with that being said, y'all, Nia Long is Lexus, man. Hell nah. With that being said, we definitely appreciate y'all tuning in for another week. Thank y'all, man. I said it at the top. We can't thank y'all enough for rocking with us. Now that the episode is over, please, if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, hit that rating button. Give us a rating, whatever you feel we deserve. Leave a review if you like to. If you're on YouTube, give us that thumbs up. Give us a thumbs down, whatever you feel. It's up to y'all, man. We don't, we're never going to try to steer you guys to rate us one way or another. We just want you to be honest, because that's how we get better. If you have tips for us or things that you want to hear about, hit us up. I told you our Linktree. You have our email address in there. You have our social media. We do respond. So if you hit us up on social, I guarantee you will get a response, unless you're selling bullshit or one of them fake pages and shit like that. But other than that, we appreciate y'all tuning in. Don't forget about We Got Y'all, Run the World. 2 more episodes of that. We'll have another episode of Culture Garden next Thursday. Ray P should be back with us, so we'll have the full gang here. School, appreciate you, my brother.
I appreciate you. Love you, big dog. We miss you, Ray P. Love you.
Yeah, man, no doubt. Always love Ray P. With that being said, y'all be cool. How y'all be cool?
Peace.